Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh, who's the name of the Heavenly Father. Ba'ashem, meaning in the name of Yahweh Shai, who the world calls Jesus Christ ignorantly. And his real name in the Hebrew, the Lashawan Kadash, is Yahweh Shai. All right. So all praises and glory go to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahweh Shai. And Shalom to the 12 tribes of Israel, which consists of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, and Native Indians, going back on your father's side. Shalom of the house of David. Shalom. And another thing, once again, I'd like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS, Great Millstone, who taught us this truth and sincerity, right? Now, this lesson is going to be on this whole book is not the book of the law, all right? This whole book is not the book of the law. Don't get fooled when brothers say they go to Paul's epistles, Paul's letters, or other books in the so-called New Testament and say that, oh, that's a law. It's not a law, all right? Now, we're going to go to the book of Acts chapter 17 and verse 11, all right? This is the book of Acts chapter 17 and verse 11, and it reads, "These were more noble than those in Thessalonica, in that they received the word with all readiness of mind and searched the scriptures daily whether those things were so." All right. So when you come into this knowledge of the truth, you have to search these scriptures to prove if what brothers are saying is correct or not. All right. Because a lot of times brother come in a subtle spirit of vainglory. A lot of brothers like the power of controlling other brothers. All right. And they're not going specifically being sincere and truthfully and sincerity in the scriptures, all right? Now, don't get me wrong, brothers bring out this word, but a lot of times brothers ain't bringing out the full spectrum of the word and what it's really trying to say, all right? Now, we're going to go to the book of First Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 21, all right? And we're going to prove this. This is what we're going to prove this, all right? Because brothers can't just be going to Paul's epistles and just saying, oh, all like what Paul says is it's just law. It's not. There's no law of Paul. All right. There's no law of Peter. All right. There's no law of John. It's the law of Moses. It's synonymous with the law of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Right. It's the first 5 books. All right. And we're gonna prove that. This is the book of First Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 21. And it reads, "Prove all things, hold fast that which is good." So you prove all things, all right? You shut people down, man. You shut people down, you rebuke people with truth, all right? It doesn't matter if they don't like it or they don't care. That if they can't accept the truth, that's their problem. All right. So we're gonna prove this. We're gonna go to the book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse 1. And it reads, "This is the book of the commandments of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and the law that endureth forever. All right. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die." So what is Baruch talking about when he says this is the book of the commandments of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, all right? So you have to remember, if this is the book of the commandments and Baruch is in the time of Jeremiah and Josiah, who was the king at that time? It was Josiah, then his son Jehoiakim, all right? So how could the whole book be the book of commandments? The Paul and the so-called New Testament wasn't even written yet. The so-called New Testament wasn't even written yet. So we know that Baruch was referring to the first 5 books, the law of Moses, all right? That's what he was referring to. Now we're going to prove that. But remember, once again, Baruch was in the time of Jeremiah, all right? And who was the king at that time? It was Josiah and then his son afterwards, Jehoiakim, all right? All right, so you guys have to go ahead and research and do your research, do your diligent research and study to show yourselves approved, all right? You have to be able to discern the truth of things, all right? You have to be able to go into the scriptures and discern these things because there are a lot of people out there that's not always telling the full truth, all right? They're not telling the full truth, all right? And then you got others worse so they're doing on their own accord and their own volition as far as trying to control and manipulate people. You got a lot of people out there move that. Don't be fooled. Do not be fooled, all right? And the best way not to be fooled, you have to be in the know. You have to study, man. You shut people down. You rebuke their ass, all right? All right, this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 45 and verse 1. And it reads, the word that Jeremiah, the prophet, all right? So Jeremiah is the prophet, right? Spake unto Baruch, the son of Neriah, when he had written these words in a book at the mouth of Jeremiah, all right? In the 4th year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah. So Josiah was a king of Judah, the southern kingdom at that time, all right? And then Jehoiakim, which is the son of Josiah, he was the king at that time, all right? So Baruch is in the time of Josiah and Jehoiakim. All right, so let's see what that book of the law that is talking about. All right, it's not talking about the whole Bible. It's talking about at that time period, like once again, I'm going to keep reiterating, the so-called New Testament was not even written. All right, Paul, Peter, John, they wasn't even in this era. All right, at this point of time. All right, now we're going to go to we're going to prove that. We're going to go to 2 Kings. All right. 2 Kings chapter 22. Chapter 22, and we're going to go to verse 8. All right. And we're going to prove that. All right. Now to get the context, I'm going to start off at verse 1. This is the book of 2 Kings chapter 22 and verse 1. And it reads, Josiah was 8 years old when he began to reign. All right. And he reigned 31 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jedidah, the daughter of Adiah of Boskath. All right. Now I'm going to just jump to verse 8. All right. So now we got the context of who was in rulership at that time. It was King Josiah. Right. And he was the king of Judah. So the southern kingdom. All right. Which consists of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Those 3 tribes. All right. And we're going to jump to verse 8. And Hilkiah, the high priest, said unto Shaphan, the scribe, I have found the book of the law in the house of the Lord. And Hilkiah gave the book to Shaphan, and he read it. All right. So Hilkiah gave the book of the laws, the first 5 books, the book of the law, right, into Shaphan and to read it. All right. And Shaphan the scribe came into the king. Who was the king at that time? Josiah. And brought the king word again and said, Thy servants have gathered the money that was found in the house and have delivered it into the hand of them that do the work, that have the oversight of the house of the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. And Shaphan the scribe showed the king, saying, Hilkiah, the priests have delivered me a book. All right. And Shaphan read it before the king. All right. And it came to pass when the king had heard the words of the book of the law. That's what it's going back to on Baruch, the 4th chapter, verse 1, right? And verse 2, the book of the law, the book of the commandments. That's the first 5 books. That's it. That is it. Right? And Shaphan the scribe shewed the king, saying, Hilkiah, the priests have delivered me a book. And Shaphan read it before the king. And it came to pass when the king had heard the words of the book of the law, he rent his clothes. Rent means to tear. All right. He tore his clothes. And the king, who's the king? Josiah at that time. All right. And Baruch is in the same era, in the same time frame as Josiah. All right. And the king commanded Hilkiah the priest and Ahakim, the son of Shaphan, and Achbor, the son of Micaiah, and Shaphan the scribe, and Asahiah, a servant of the king, saying, verse 13, key point, go ye, inquire of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, for me, and for the people, and for all Judah, concerning the words of this book that is found. For great is the wrath of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, that is kindled against us, because our fathers have not hearkened unto the words of this book, and to do according to all that which is written concerning us. All right. So once again, the book of the law, the book of the commandments is referring to the first 5 books. All right. Which is the law of Moses and the law of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Those they mean the same thing. It's synonymous. All right. Now we're going to jump to 2 Kings, the 23rd chapter, verse 24 and verse 25. All right. And we're going to prove it furthermore. All right. Moreover, the workers with familiar spirits and the wizards and the images of the idols And all the abominations that were spied in the land of Judah and in Jerusalem did Josiah put away, that he might perform the words of the law which were written in the book that Hilkiah the priest found in the house of the Lord. Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So they found that little book of the law in the house of the Lord, all right? And Hilkiah, Shaphan, read it before the king, Josiah, at that time, right? And then like unto him, was there no king before him that turned to the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai with all his heart and with all his soul and with all his might, according to all the law of Moses? Once again, the book of the commandments is recording to all the law of Moses. All right. Neither after him arose there any like him. Now let's prove that even furthermore, that the book of the commandments, the book of the law, is only referring to the first 5 books, which is also known as the Torah: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. That's where you're going to find the laws of Israel that our God gave us, all right? The Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, and Native Indians going back on your father's side, all right? These laws were given to us, all right? All 613 commandments. All 630 commandments were given to us, all right? And it's known as the law of Moses, which is also known as the law of God. Let's prove that. They mean the same exact thing, all right? Let's go to the book of Nehemiah. Let's go to the book of Nehemiah, chapter 9, and verse 3. And let's prove that. According to the book. That's where you're going to prove all things. You're going to prove all things according to this book, all right? This book proves everything. It won't fail you, all right? All things are, everything that you need to know at this time period in time is right here in our book, all right? This is our book. This book was written by the Israelites to the Israelites, and it's for the Israelites, all right? This is the book of Nehemiah, chapter 9, and verse 3. And it reads, and they stood up in their place and read in the book of the law of the Lord, their God, all right? Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, all right? That's what it was referring to. The law of the Lord, their God, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai. 1/4 part of the day and another 4th part they confessed and worshiped the Lord their God, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai. So the book of the law is also known as what? The law of Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai. But it's also synonymous with what? Now let's go to Nehemiah chapter 8, verse 1. And all the people gathered themselves together, all right, as one man into the street that was before the water gate. And they spake unto Ezra the scribe to bring the book of the law of Moses, all right, which the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, have commanded to Israel. All right, so once again, the law of Moses and the law of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, they mean the same thing. They mean the same thing. So when it's talking about the law of God, the law of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, the law of Moses, it's referring to the first 5 books where you find the laws and the commandments of our God, who tells us what's right and what's wrong and what's good and what's evil. Everything's right there. All laws, all rules have already been written, all right? They've already been written. They've already been established, all right? I'm going to give out another precept. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 78 and verse 5, all right? This is the book of Psalms, chapter 78 and verse 5, and it reads, for he established a testimony in Jacob, all right? Who's Jacob? Our forefather, right? Whose name was later changed into who? Israel. It tells you that in the book of what? Genesis chapter 35 and verse 10, all right? Genesis chapter 32 and verse 26, all right? Let's prove that. Because Jacob and Israel, synonymous. Once again, you have to know that. You only know that if you read. When it's saying Jacob, when it says Israel, they mean the same thing. Because Jacob's name was changed to Israel. All right? Genesis chapter 35 verse 10. And Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, said unto him, thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. So, all right. So when it's talking about Jacob, when it's talking about Israel, they mean the same thing. All right. Because Yahweh Bashem Yahushai later changed Jacob's name into Israel. All right. But he's also referred to all throughout the scriptures as Jacob as well. All right. Genesis chapter 32 and verse 28. All right. I'm going to get straight to the point. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. See, we're known as the sons of God. The Israelites are known as the sons of God. Where this it says, for as a prince hast thou power with God. All right. We are the sons of God. All right. And with men hast thou prevailed. We were the chosen nation to prevail over all other nations. All right. We are the sons of God. Now let's prove that one more time. Exodus chapter 4, verse 22. All right. Exodus chapter 4, verse 22. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, all right, thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. We are the sons of God. All right, nobody else. The sons of God are the Israelites and only the Israelites, all right? The other nations are the heathen, all right? They're the Gentiles, the true Gentiles, because we're also called Gentiles as well. When we lost our heritage, all right? Now the Most High is putting the Spirit upon us to come back into our heritage, of those of the hopeful elect to come back into knowing who we are. All right. So we're going back to Psalms chapter 78, verse 5. For he established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers that they should make them known to their children. All right. So this law was appointed to us. All right. My dear beloved, hopeful elect brothers, all right? Because screw you 2/3 Israelites, man. I despise you, man. Screw you 2/3 Israelites, all right? But to the hopeful elect, all praises and all glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Brakatah Yahweh unto you, my dear beloved brothers, all right? And you few select sisters out there that actually hearken into this word diligently and sincerely, all right? Going back to Baruch chapter 4 and verse 1. I'm going to read this again. All right. This is the book of the commandments of Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, and the law that endureth forever. Because this law that the Most High appointed to us is righteous. And it tells you how to be righteous. And it tells you how to judge those that are being wicked and evil. All right. And it endures forever. It's going to be here forever. All right. We don't come up with the rules on what's right and what's wrong. All right. We don't do that. They've already been written down. All 613 commandments. Everything you need to know what's right and what's wrong is already here. It's already written. All right? We don't make up nothing now. Everything's already been established. All right? Because if you think you're coming up with a law and it's not in the first 5 books, you add into the scriptures. You're actually in sin. You're actually breaking the law. Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 22. All right? Let's bring that out. All right. This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 2. All right. Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 2. And it reads, ye shall not add into the word which I command you. All right. So what is Yahweh Bashem Yahushai saying? He's saying one of the commandments is that you shall not add into the commandments. You shall not add into the word. All right. You take the word and you read it as is. All right. You don't add to it. You don't diminish from it. All right. You don't put your own little 2 cents to it. You don't put your emotions to it. You don't put your feelings to it. Fuck all that bullshit, man. You go by, thus say Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and you act in truth and sincerity as what the scriptures is saying. All right. It's that point. It's that point blank, period. It's not hard. It's not hard at all. Let's continue. Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 2. And it reads, ye shall not add into the word which I command you. All right. Neither shall you diminish out from it, that ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, which I command you. All right. So we don't add or we don't diminish, because when you do that, you're in sin. You're actually breaking a commandment. Because what's sin? The breaking of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's laws. That's what sin is, all right? And we put our emotions and we throw that shit out to the wayside, man. Our emotions don't mean nothing. So when you come to this truth, you gotta learn real quick, fast, in a hurry to throw your emotions out the window, man, and get with the program, all right? Because everything's already been established, all right? Now this is one of my favorite precepts, because a lot of people they think their emotions mean something, man. Your emotions don't mean. Your emotions gonna get you death, all right? If you don't change them, your emotions gonna get you death. All right, this is the book of Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 25. All right, because you have to remember, he's the creator and we're the creation. All right, we bow down before him and we honor what he says and we do what he says without question, without fail. All right, this is the book of Deuteronomy, Salakia, Proverbs chapter 16 verse 25. There is a way that seemeth right unto a man. See, there's a way that seemeth right unto you. A lot of people see, and that's why this world's so fucked up too. Because everybody has their own views on what's right and what's wrong. No. The laws has already been established. There's only one way. The laws are already here. All right? There is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. Yeah, they are the way of death. Because when you start thinking that you controlling the show, running the show, you bucking up against Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, you bucking up against true righteous government that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai set up. And you're going to be destroyed. You're going to be put to death. All right? All right? So going back once again to Baruch chapter 4. All right? Brothers need to understand that when brothers bring out Baruch chapter 4 and verse 1, it's not talking about all 80 books in the Bible. That it's the law. All right? Baruch is in the time of Jeremiah. All right? All right. And Baruch is at that time, the king at that time that was reigning over us was Jehoiakim, who was son of Josiah. All right. They were talking about the book of the commandments, the book of the law. It was referring to the book of Moses. All right. The law of Moses. The first 5 books. Once again, I cannot stress that enough. The first 5 books is where you find the law at. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. That's where you find the 613 commandments, the 613 laws of our God that he gave to us. All right. When Moses came down from Mount Sinai, he gave it to the children of Israel, his people. Moses is an Israelite. He's from the tribe of Levi. He came down to his 12 tribe brethren and gave us the law that our God gave us. All right. That's the only nation he gave it to. All right. Now we're going to further read Baruch chapter 4 and verse 2. Turn thee, O Jacob. Who's Jacob? Israel. Jacob and Israel, same thing. We just brought that out earlier. And take hold of it. Walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou mayest be illuminated. Because when you come into these law, statutes, commandments, you're going to know what's right and what's wrong, what's good and what's evil. All right. What's life and what's death. You're going to be illuminated. All right. Give not thy honor to another, nor the things that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation, because these laws belong to us. All right. These nations never got the laws. All right. These nations, according to our book, they're getting judged for what they did. All right. Now, it's going to come to fruition. It's going to come to pass after these nations serve their 1,000 years of hardcore chattel slavery, because they have to build up the kingdom. They're going to have to dig up all these dead bodies. All right. That's going to be accumulated from World War III, and when Yahushai and his mighty warriors and the angels come down to wreak vengeance and havoc on this place, all right, and indignation on this place, and true judgment on this place, these nations got to pay for what they did, all right? And it's constantly told that in the scriptures, all right? They have nothing to do with us but judgment. These nations have nothing to do with us. They are our enemies, every last one of them. They're our enemies, all right? And they're going to pay for what they did to us, all right? This land is stolen, all right? Our land in Israel, stolen. Our heritage, stolen, all right? These things, they have a lot of atrocities, unfathomable atrocities that they commit that they have to pay back for. And it's righteous to get payback for that, because our God's going to give it. They're not going to do it, all right? Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is going to do that for us, all right? And these nations are, according to scriptures, they're going to go to hardcore chattel slavery for 1,000 years. All right. Then after 1,000 years, meanwhile, in their captivity, we're going to be teaching them the law. They're going to get the law from the Israelite men. All right. Because we're kings and priests in that day. Every last one of us, they're going to automatically have the laws in our inward parts. And we're going to be able to know, we're going to know them like that. It's going to be like second nature, like breathing. All right. When the Most High put the new covenant into our inward parts and give us a heart of flesh and not a stony heart. All right. The new covenant, what? It's mentioned in what? Jeremiah 31st chapter, 31 verse 31. Chapter 31 verse 31. Hebrews chapter 8 and verse 8. It tells you about the new covenant. The new covenant is only given to the Israelites. That's it. That is it. And we're not in the new covenant right now. All right? Because it tells you, let's go to it real quick. This is how you know we're in the new covenant. And Salaki, Israel, for stretching out the lesson. The whole point of the lesson was just to prove what Baruch chapter 4 and verse 1 is really going into, all right? It's not going into all 80 books. It's only going to the first 5 books, because that's where you find the book of the commandments and the book of the law at, all right? What Paul says is a lot of times what Paul says is words of wisdom, all right? He also says in 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 6, and 2 Corinthians chapter 8 and verse 8, that he speaks by permission, not by commandment, all right? So he's adding his wisdom, his 2 cents to things, but it's not unlawful on some of the things that he says. For example, if a man decides he's going to want to grow his hair out, it's not a sin to grow his hair out, all right? Is it wise? No, but there's a lot of things not wise to do right now, all right? To have multiple wives in this time, it's not wise. In fact, Paul says it's better that a man don't even touch a woman right now. You have to understand why he's saying that. You have to be able to discern why he's saying that, all right? It's not wise to even mess around with women. Let's be real at this time, because these women are demons. They're devils, all right? And they sided with the devil. They sided with the serpent, and they give us nothing but hell and chaos, all right? You can't correct your woman the way that's supposed to be corrected in the scriptures, because this red devil cave beast is going to be at your door, all right? You can't. So Paul, look, what did Paul say? Paul also said that it's not wise. He said, I would have all you men be as me, all right? And those that you have wise, it'd be better that you don't. I mean, like as if you had none. All right. So when Paul says these things, he's speaking words of wisdom, discerning the times as well. All right. But it's not necessarily a sin. All right. You find if it's a sin, going back to the first 5 books. All right. And okay, now kind of all over the place. Give me a second. Salakia, Israel. I think that's gonna be the end of the lesson, Israel. I made the point. Baruch chapter 4 and verse 1 is only going to the first 5 books. It's not referring to Paul's epistles and what Paul says, all right? There's no law of Paul. There's no law of Paul. I can't reiterate that enough, all right? There is no law of Paul. There's no law of Peter. There's no law of John, all right? They're not. They taught from the law, all right? Let me bring that out, in fact. Let's see where Paul taught from, all right? Paul is not the law, all right? You guys have to understand that. You have to be able to search and discern that for yourself. Paul is not the law, all right? Brothers go to Paul a lot because they want to control brothers, man. They want to control brothers, man, because a lot of times Paul, what he says, there's a lot of wisdom behind what he says, but it's not necessarily the law. He's not talking about the law. And you will only know that if you're going in reading. You got to read. You got to study. Study to show yourself approved. Don't be deceived. Don't be manipulated. Don't be controlled. Know what's going on. All right. Damn, man, I'll be all over the place. Lock it. Bear with me. This is oh man, I forgot where I was going to. Oh yeah, I'm going back to Salakia. Mine's going all over the place right now, Israel. This is the book of Acts. Let's see where Paul taught from, all right? This is the book of Acts chapter 28 and verse. I'm going to just go straight to the point, but you can read the whole 28th chapter, all right? All right? You can read the whole 28th chapter of the book of Acts, all right? But we're going to go straight to the point to cut time short, all right? This is the book of Acts chapter 28 and verse 21. And they said unto him, we neither received letters out of Judea concerning thee, neither any of the brethren that came showed or spake any harm of thee. But we desire to hear of thee what thou thinkest. All right. For as concerning this sect, we know that everywhere it is spoken against. All right. And when they had appointed him a day, there came many to him into his lodging. All right. To whom he expounded. So a lot of these brothers from all over the place, they went to Paul. All right. They went to his lodging. What's his lodging? His dwelling, the place where he resided, all right? The place where he lived at, all right? And what did Paul do, all right, for these brothers? To whom he expounded. Expounded means to explain, to elaborate, to break down, all right? He went into detail on these things. In whom he expounded and testified the kingdom of Yahweh, all right? He went into who the kingdom of Yahweh is for, all right? Persuading them concerning Yahweh Shai, both out of the law of Moses. Where do you find the law of Moses at? The so-called Old Testament, the first 5 books, all right? And out of the prophets. Where the book of the prophets at? In the so-called Old Testament, right? Jeremiah, Isaiah, Ezekiel, Nahum, Obadiah, Habakkuk, Haggai, Jonah, all right, Zephaniah, Zechariah, all right, Micah, Malachi, all them brothers, man. Those are the prophets, all right? And that's where Paul, and that's where all the brothers in the so-called New Testament, they taught from, all right? All the so-called New Testament is just a reiteration of the old. That's all it is. It's just basically bring it back into memory. That's all it is. All right. Because all the prophecies are found in the so-called Old Testament. All the prophecies on what's happening today and what's going to happen in the future. They're found in the book of the prophets, the so-called Old Testament. All right. And the only way you're going to truly understand these things is you got to read. And you have to start from the beginning. And yes, you are going to have to get clarification. You go to a brother that has more of a knowledge through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua of these scriptures to break it down to you. All right. Now let's prove that, because you do, man. Especially when you come into the scriptures. Scriptures can be very confusing, man. You need somebody to go there and properly guide you. All right. Who's not going to play no games, who's not going to beat around the bush, who's not going to sugarcoat, that's going to properly guide you through the sincerity and truth in the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. All right. This is the book of Acts chapter 8 and verse 30. All right. Let's prove that. This is the book of Acts chapter 8 and verse 30. And it reads, "And Philip ran thither to him and heard him read the prophet Isaiah and said, Understandest thou what thou readest?" So this brother's over here reading Isaiah, and the brother was looking like, bro, do you understand what you reading? because yeah, man, like the scriptures is not a novel, all right? It's full of codes and parables and dark sayings and dark speeches, and everything is not straightforward. It's not meant to be straightforward. All right. "Understandest thou what thou readest?" And he said, "How can I, except some man should guide me?" And he desired Philip that he would come up and sit with him to break down the scriptures. All right. To break down the scriptures in sincerity. All right. So I like to give all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai. Call all Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right. And I hope this lesson was edifying to you, brothers. All right. I really do. Once again, Baruch, the 4th chapter, verse 1, is not talking about all 80 books. It's only talking about the first 5 books. All right. Do your research. I hope this lesson was edifying, because I went into detail on the time period that Baruch was in. All right. Shalom.